Greetings everyone. Jambo. Welcome to Marafiki Wellness Club, where exploring collective wellness is our way. We believe that personal commitment is the catalyst of lasting change. My name is Lillian Njoki, or Rafiki Lillian. I'm many things. I'm a mom, wife, hospitalist, community organizer, but most of all, I see myself as an explorer when it comes to wellness. Rafiki means friend, Marafiki means friends. Here at Marafiki Wellness Club, this is a space rooted in the collective power of community, and its pillars are 5, which is restorative rest, nutritious foods, exercise, healthy relationships, and community contribution. Through expert insights, wellness events, and community-driven support, we are here to make well-being accessible, sustainable, and shared. I am Dr. Lillian Njoki, or Rafiki Lillian, and today we are diving into a transformative conversation about body mapping meditation and the functional medicine elimination diet. 2 powerful tools that help us better understand our bodies and optimize our well-being. In this episode, we will explore how body awareness and mindful nutrition can help us tune into our health in a deeper way. Plus, we've got some fun trivia, interactive challenges, and critical thinking exercise to keep things engaging. So get comfortable, stay curious, and let's start mapping your path and my path to better health, one mindful choice at a time. Our guest today is Dr. Monica Halkes and Dr. Vedmir Fonkhem. I would like for you to briefly introduce yourself. Monica, we can start with you.
Hi, my name is Monica Halkes. I recently retired from Georgia Tech, where I taught a course on mindfulness for mental acuity for about 7 years to Georgia Tech freshmen. I'm actually a physicist, which is not really intuitive, but I've been studying Tibetan mind training for about 15 years.
Good, wonderful. And Dr. Fonkhem?
Yes, I'm Vedmir Fonkhem. I'm a family medicine trained hospitalist with an interest in bariatrics and now a new interest in aesthetics and med spa.
Wonderful. I'll be coming to your spa very, very soon. Okay, so yeah. So today our topic is exploring body mapping meditation and functional medicine elimination diet. We are going to integrate critical thinking within the 5 pillars of wellness, which is restorative rest, nutritious foods, exercise, healthy relationship, and giving back. So before we go to body mapping, I just wanted us to briefly talk about the nervous system and what we know about it. We know that it's divided central and peripheral nervous system, and the peripheral nervous system is divided into somatic and autonomic, whereby the somatic, of course, is the movement, and then the autonomic is, things that we really don't think about, but our bodies tend to do. When I was thinking about the nervous system and, how we can think about it and how we can be able to be in tune with our nervous system, I thought probably meditation is one way that we can, we can actually have a sense of what the central nervous system does. What is your take on the nervous system, Monica?
So it's my training. I have learned that when you are able to use your mind to relax your body, you're able to completely, almost, I would say, even eliminate stress if you practice a lot and are very good at it. And stress, of course, is associated with the nervous system as far as I know it. I'm not a medical doctor, but you're much more able to relax and understand what your body needs by using your mindfulness meditation.
Okay. What about you, Dr. Fonkhem?
So just from a medical standpoint, like you broke down the nervous system into the central and the peripheral. That's exactly how it is. Most people think about, the brain and the spinal cord as that's all the nervous system that there is. However, the autonomic part is also very, very important, right? It takes care of all the stuff that we don't really think about. Okay. So again, you're not thinking about breathing. You're not thinking about, remind yourself to get a heartbeat. The nervous system definitely has a big role in controlling all of those processes. You also don't think, again, when you talk about digestion itself, there are nerves there that also help with controlling those things too. So from a medication standpoint, the parts that we don't think about, it is very important.
Yeah. I was looking at the National Institute of Health.gov, and just briefly, the nervous system controls brain growth and development, sensations such as touch or hearing, perception, the mental process of interpreting sensory information, thought and emotions, learning and memory, movement, balance and coordination, sleep, healing, and rehabilitation. Stress and the body responses to stress, aging, breathing and heartbeat, body temperature, hunger, thirst, and digestion, puberty, reproductive health, and fertility, amongst many things, right? And most of us, we really don't know how much, the nervous system is important. It seems like we have the whole medicine cabinet within ourselves, right? And when they talk about meditation, I think this is one way. Of course, we cannot control our mind. Our mind is just like the heart beating, right? The heart beats, right? You don't even think about it. But a lot of people think that, we cannot even control our mind, so let's not do anything about it. But there is a science of meditation, and I know different people have different approaches on meditation. And I want to start with you, Dr. Fonkhem. What has been your experience with meditation?
You would ask me that.
Yeah.
So meditation, it is important, right? I know the science behind meditation, right? Getting that, mind and body in tune. It's something which personally I have struggled a lot with it. And one of my biggest struggles with meditation is my attention span is so short. And so you go into meditation and before you realize it, you are thinking about everything else and you actually forget that you're actually meditating. And when that happens 2 or 3 times in a 3-minute span, that really knocks down your confidence. And so you're like, wow, this is probably not for me. But it is certainly something which I know that it can help. Me personally, it can help patients a lot, but it's hard to sell something which you're not really taking yet, And that's one reason why, I actually accepted for this podcast, because I knew that helping the community is one thing, but it is going to help me personally a lot with this.
For me, for a long time, there's meditation and there's prayer, right? Meditation is actually whereby you are silent and you watch your thoughts. You cannot control your thoughts, but you actually watch them and realize, let's say, I think of a lion, right? Maybe I have had an interaction. Probably there was a time back in my life whereby I was almost eaten by a lion, right? So what your thoughts does, so you think about the lion and automatically it sends you back to an experience that you had. But at this moment, the lion is not there. But your nervous system does not know that, right? Because it's triggering that your experience. But if you can just watch your thoughts, like, the lion is not here. I am safe. I'm in a studio, right? To me, that is meditation. In the past, I used to think, because I've been to seminars. I've gone to seminars, like a whole week seminars, just meditating. I've gone to Buddhist temples whereby we sat down, in uncomfortable positions, and you're like, okay, let me forget everything. To me, I found it very impossible to do. But what I do nowadays is mainly, what am I thinking about? Because sometimes I'm driving from work, to home, and I reach home and I'm like, I don't even remember getting home, because I was not in tune with my mind. What is my mind thinking? And you'll be very, very surprised. You might be feeling anger, and I'm like, it's because your thoughts are conjuring thoughts of anger or situation. You're kind of like thinking of making up stories of a situation, and then you have this perception of anger. But because you're not in tune with your thoughts or what is going on in your thoughts, you just, oh, maybe I'm just an angry person, or this person is making me angry, but you never go back to your mind to, kind of have the thought process of what is my mind, or what am I thinking about? What about you, Monica? What is your experience with meditation? Or am I making sense to you?
Yes, you are absolutely making sense. And the type of there are many different types of meditation that serve many different purposes. And the type that you're describing, I would call analytical meditation. You're analyzing your thoughts and thereby coming to some understanding of why, you're getting stressed out from anger or whatever. Mm-hmm. There are also there are certain meditation practices to improve your memory. There are meditation practices to improve your relationships. There are many very good meditation practices to improve your sleep. But you were saying the nervous system and sleep, so important. And especially, I can tell you, Dr. Fonkhem, new freshmen at Georgia Tech are essentially high school students. Do you know what their attention span is? Very short. So what we start off with is 2-minute meditations. You can do 2 minutes of meditation. I always start by clearing the mind. It's the same as if you wouldn't go to a class to take notes on a tablet that you have writing all over it, right? Mm-hmm. You can't do anything with that tablet that has writing all over it. So we clear the mind for a moment, and then we go and do the work of either mapping your body to see what is going on in your body, or actually, Tibetan Buddhist monks would tell you that you can control your mind. It takes a lot of work, but there are many different types of meditation. Can mean many different things depending on what you want to use it for.
I like that. I will. If there is a way that I can work towards that. But what about busy people like us? Is there a type of meditation that...
Sorry, I didn't get
what about busy people like us,
Oh, busy people, yes. In fact, the Buddhist monks, they meditate for an hour at a time. And my teacher, whom you know, Geshe Dr. Namgyal, he said there is nothing better about meditating for a long period or meditating for a short period. In fact, it can be better to meditate 2 minutes at a time when you have the time. There's a simple meditation when you stop at a red light, a traffic light. Mm-hmm. What are you doing instead of going, I wish we would go, go? Mm-hmm. Stop, take 3 deep breaths and relax. That's a meditation. And it's amazing how much it can change your day.
Okay. So, Dr. Fonkhem, before this meeting, have you ever heard of body mapping meditation?
So I have never heard of the term body mapping meditation. Mm-hmm. However, when I looked into that, I realized that when you're undergoing guided meditation, some of those practices they taught to you is pretty much what body mapping is. I've never heard of the term body mapping meditation.
Okay. My experience when I had about body mapping meditation, we were discussing the concept of emotions and where emotion lands in your body. For my son, or my daughter, when she is angry, she expresses herself, right? She will scream, right? Or she will cry. But as an adult, we are told to look a certain way, right? Not to really be expressive, especially in the professional field. If somebody curses at you, you have to always maintain this perception of professionalism, right? But it doesn't mean that you don't feel that, you don't feel the anger. So body mapping for me, how I understood it is, yes, you do feel these feelings, but they do attach themselves in certain body parts. Like for me, anger tends to attach itself in my throat area. And so what I normally do is I use my breath. I focus on that area, right? And I use my breath, I hold, and then I exhale, focusing on that area, right? I'll exhale that. And, so that is for me body mapping. I will do like a quick scan on my body to see how I feel, because in my privacy, I can actually be real with myself, but of course in public I can't. But in public, if I have fear, I know fear touches in my gut. Like even sometimes when I'm doing a presentation, I feel that sensation and I acknowledge it. And I actually do breathing exercises focusing on that area. So that is how I've been practicing body mapping. But I just wanted to know, Monica, what do you think about body mapping meditation?
That is very interesting. We actually had a practice. Not all mindfulness is meditation. Mm-hmm. Some of it is just practice. And we did have one practice where we would ask all the students in the class, this is a more advanced practice because it's a difficult one. Ask each student, think of a time where you said something to someone that you wish you didn't say, that you wish you could take back. And so everyone thinks of that and they hate thinking of that, right? It's a terrible feeling. But then you ask them, where do you feel that in your body? And everybody's different, right? Like I might feel it in my neck. Someone might feel it in their stomach, but everybody feels it somewhere in the body. So simply by thinking of something, you can make yourself ill, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so that's, I didn't do the body mapping meditation that way. That was just a practice to find out, to tell ourselves what happens when we think of certain thoughts. And in my practice with the body mapping, we can do it either for sleep or just for do a tour of your body, to do a tour of the body to see where you're feeling something, like you were just talking about. Like, do I feel stiff in my shoulders? Well, then I'm going to take a breath and release that. Or do I feel weird in my stomach? Let's breathe into that. So that is very much what you were talking about.
Yeah, good. Yeah. So you can find something that works, that works for you. Everybody, is different occupations, different times. I think everybody can find ways of doing meditation. Before we start, do like a mini body mapping meditation, I want to talk about breathing in and out. Especially when it comes to the peripheral nervous system. I've heard that if you inhale and you exhale longer, it kind of like relaxes you. And I've actually practiced that. So for instance, if I take in 4 breaths, 1, 2, 3, 4, I hold 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I find that my body tends to relax some more. The breathing in is fine. The breathing out is fine. It's the holding. Because the holding, when I was doing my practice, I was, when you hold, you kind of like stiffen up. But the goal is not to stiffen your body, right? The goal is to actually hold, without stiffening your body. And through many practice, I found out that when you hold that breath, so first of all, when you breathe, a lot of people actually, when I tell them to breathe, they breathe with your chest here. They don't actually breathe with their diaphragm. So when they're breathing, they're using these accessory muscles to breathe instead of using the diaphragm. So when you think this is the diaphragm, it's normally here, it's a muscle. When you inhale, you're filling your lungs with air. So everything needs to be expanding outward like that and down. So when you think about breathing, you're filling your body with air. And then when you hold, a lot of people stiffen their shoulders. So just relax your shoulders. A lot of people stiffen their buttocks. So the goal is not to stiffen your buttocks, it's to actually relax. But what we can do is you can pull pull up your perineum. Perineum is the muscle that actually, like say when you're urinating at midstream, you kind of like hold that muscle, right? That is the muscle that a lot of women do when they're doing Kegels. That's the muscle that they pull in, okay? So when you're holding, think about that muscle and you hold it in without, squeezing your buttocks, and relax your shoulders, okay? And then you breathe out. When you breathe out, the stomach goes in, okay? So when you breathe in, your stomachs go out, your belly, and you look at a baby, that's how the baby, look like. When they breathe in, their stomach goes out. When you breathe out, the stomach goes in. Some people will have to do a lot of practice, especially a lot of people with respiratory issues, COPD, asthma. A lot of people do a lot of accessory muscle breathing. So that is something that you need to think about when you're doing this breathing exercise. And then for the next 5 minutes, Monica, do you mind leading us to meditation exercise?
I will. For this one, I'm not going to encourage that complicated breathing because it is complicated. And I think it's important that people practice that. Very useful. But for this kind of just like an introduction to make it easier and nicer for people, we're just going to I'll just tell you what we're going to do so it's not a surprise. We'll take 3 deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, just 3 of them. Then we'll go to normal breathing. Then we're going to do a head clearing exercise, very quick. And then we'll do the body scan, what we typically call a body scan, body map, body tour. And then at the end of that, we'll just take 3 deep breaths again before we open our eyes again. The important thing is to have your back straight. You can try, if you slump over, can you take a deep breath? No, try it. If you lean back like that, can you take a deep breath? No, you're trying to get the oxygen into your air. So straight back. You should not have your legs crossed unless you're some kind of yogi that knows how to do that, because you can cut off circulation if you cross your legs. So we're just going to, I don't close my eyes all the way. You can. The reason I don't is because sometimes when you close your eyes, you scrunch them up, right? And then you're not relaxed. So what I do is I just almost close my eyes and then defocus so I'm not scrunching up. But if you can close your eyes without putting tension in there, that's fine. So let's get started. Straight back, eyes closed or almost closed, body as relaxed as possible. It's good if your feet are flat on the floor. And it's just going to be very brief. So you can do this anytime during the day. We'll take 3 deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. The first one now. And exhale and release all the tension in your body. 2 more. Deep in breath, and then exhale and release the tension in your body. 1 more. Deep inhale, deep as you can, fill your lungs, and then exhale and release all the tension. Now just go to your normal breathing, keeping your back straight. Just breathing normally, and I want you to think about just relaxing the top of your head. You do hold tension up there, so just a couple seconds, think about relax the top of your head. Now move to your forehead. We hold a lot of tension there. Just let the lines soften in your forehead. It can help to think about relaxing your eyebrows. Just let it relax. Now move to thinking about your temple areas beside your eyes. Oh, people hold a lot of tension there. Just let that area soften and relax. Now see if you can see what it feels like. If you think about relaxing your ears, sometimes you can feel that relaxation in your jaw. And now, just relax the inside of your head. Let all your thoughts settle, drift away, making space for your mind to relax. You don't need to think about anything right now, just space for your mind to relax. Okay, now we start the body scan. Move your attention to your neck muscles. Do you feel tense there? Or do you feel relaxed? Down to your shoulders. If you want, you can wiggle them around. You don't have to keep completely still. And move to your arms. How do they feel? Can let them relax. And move from your arms and shoulders down to your chest muscles and your upper back. What do you feel there? Is there a place that feels like it's holding tension? Let's just take a deep breath and relax your chest and upper back. Move to your middle back. And then around to the front, to your belly and gut. Do you feel any tension there? Do you feel any discomfort? Just notice how your body feels. It's your body. Getting to know it a little better. You're getting to pay some attention to your body. If you do feel a little tension in your stomach, try to just take a breath, tell your gut, everything's fine. No worries right now. Just everything's fine for the moment. Then let's move down to the hips. And as Lillian says, no gripping your buttocks. Just sit in that chair. Feel the gravity of yourself in that chair. Move down to your thighs. I want to do a little practice here, which is really tense your thighs up really hard, like you're trying to just squeeze your thighs really, really hard. And then let go. So you can feel what it means to let your thighs relax. Then we'll move down through the knees to your calves and your shins, down to your ankles and your feet. Your poor feet do so much work. See how they feel. Feet are so important. Tell them thank you. They help you through the day so much. Let's take a deep breath and just see if we can let our entire body relax from our ears to our toes. And really notice what that feels like to relax your whole body. We don't do it often enough. Memorize the feeling of it. Okay, and that might not have been 5 minutes, but let's take our 3 deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. First one. Really inhale deeper if you can than you could before the meditation. And then exhale and relax even more than you could before. 2 more. Really huge inhale. Really huge exhale. Yes.
Hello?
Okay, and open your eyes. We have some interference, so that's the end of the meditation. Good timing.
Oh, it's good timing. I don't know who is joining us.
Oh, this is Sabrina. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. We are. If you can mute on your side, you can listen in. Yeah, Sabrina, we were actually doing a mini meditation called body mapping meditation, and my good friend Monica was leading this meditation.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
It's okay. But we will be doing a lot of this meditation in the future. Monica, you are really great. Yeah. You are really, really great. Do you know, sometimes when I do the body mapping meditation, because of course the mind is creating stories, when you're doing meditation. What I find that is very helpful is when I move my eyes left, right.
Oh, really?
And it's called rapid eye movement. I've heard about it, but I need to research more on that, because, your mind is making, of course, your mind is kind of like making stories, but sometimes if you bring your brain or your thinking into your body and, doing like rapid eye movement, it's not like moving your shoulders, whereby it's a lot of movements, just very subtle, or sometimes when they say bring your mind back to your body, what I do is I try to look at the peripheral of my eyes like that, and I stop thinking and I actually bring my thoughts into my body. That has really helped me. I know, especially when I go to work in the morning, I use the longer route to go to work, more scenic view, and I do this meditation, the body scanning, even when I'm driving. So I'm holding the steering wheel. I ask myself, how does it feel when your hands are around the steering wheel? Okay. How does it feel? And sometimes I use the warmer, right? How does it, the seat warmer, how does it feel seated in the, how do I feel? So bringing your thoughts back into your body, like how does it feel pressing the accelerator, So you will find that because at the end of the day, it's the story that you tell yourself. And sometimes you're not even aware of the stories that your mind is telling, right? You have this nervousness. You're like, where did this nervousness come from? But if you go back, what am I thinking about? You kind of find that you have this narration that you're not even in control of. But when you bring your awareness, that's the word, when you bring awareness to your thought process, you kind of are in charge of the story, right? You're not trying to control your thoughts, because that is kind of impossible, but are you aware of your thinking? I found this to be very helpful. But of course, different people have different ways of getting into themselves, as I say. And this is what I normally use. And Dr. Fonkhem.
That's a very advanced practice, actually.
Oh, I did not know I'm advanced. Thank you. Okay. Dr. Fonkhem, how did you feel after this brief meditation?
It felt great. Like I said, if I was by myself, I would have been wondering a lot. I wondered here. However, her voice was obviously very calming, and it always brought me back.
Okay.
For lack of a better. Yeah. So I was able to come back.
Oh, Doctor, we'll probably be doing this a lot, because I think it's very important for us to be in touch with our bodies. And this is a nice segue into our next topic, which is elimination diet. But before we go to that, I do have, trivia for mind-body connection. And I want to see what you guys think. Which organ has the most nerve connection to the gut? Yay! Yes. Something called the gut-brain axis, connects your digestive system and nervous system and it influences your emotion, mood, and digestion. That's when a lot of people feel anger, they feel it in their gut, right? There is that connection between your gut and your brain. The next question, what is the longest nerve in the body that connects the brain to the gut?
Vegas.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. The vagus nerve, it plays a crucial role in regulating digestion, heart rate, and mood. Now, this is the last question. What percentage of serotonin, the feel-good neurotransmitter, is produced in the gut? Guess.
Are we guessing? Yeah. 20%. Higher.
60%. No way.
100%.
80%.
80.
85%. Oh my God. 87%.
You can tell
90. Right? The feel.
That's surprising.
Yes. The feel good. That's why a lot of people, when you have a stomachache, you don't feel good. When you are constipated, you do not feel good. 90%. And the huge role player is the microbiome in your gut. And that's where, you hear all about probiotics, because 90% of most of the neurotransmitters, the serotonin, the feel-good hormone, is produced by the microbiome in your gut, right? Okay, so the reason why I thought body mapping meditation will be a nice segue to elimination diet is because a lot of people, they just put food in the body, right? They have all this crazy reaction, but they really do not have a way of connecting that to the food that they eat, okay? And as I've told you, I think both of you have told you that I'm a functional medicine student, right? Whereby we study, we always look at the root causes of diseases, okay? If you have a patient that says, after meals I feel bloated and sluggish, which food will you think that is triggering this? Bloated and sluggish.
Thinking carbohydrates.
Yes, but what are the most common things that I'll tell you? When people eat a lot of milk stuff, right? Dairy, yes, dairy and gluten, right? That is the most common thing you'll think about. Okay, probably this person should cut out, their milk, because as you know, especially African American, we don't have that as an adult. We really have a few percentage of the lactase, the one that breaks the protein. So the reason why I thought about eliminating diet, what is elimination diet? What have you come across this term?
I think I told you I had a friend who did something called the FODMAP diet. And I think that sounds like first they start with eliminating fermented foods, and then the O stands for something else, and then D is for dairy, and then M. And it was very useful for that person, but I don't have any experience.
Yeah. Okay. Dr. Fonkhem?
Yes, going through training, we did not really call it elimination diet, but that's what we did. And we did it focusing a lot more on just the GI symptoms. Someone, especially with persistent diarrhea, that was the most common one. And they said, hey, get this off your diet, and see how it is. And again, in our traditional medicine, we're really looking at two big keys, right, from an outpatient setting. It could be lactose intolerant versus gluten, right? So, and that's why we try to eliminate those diets like that. But of course, it goes a lot deeper than that from a functional medicine standpoint.
Yeah. So, elimination diet is removing common inflammatory foods to identify sensitivity and promote healing, right? The most common inflammatory foods that we see are gluten, dairy, refined sugars. That's where the FODMAP comes in. Soy, corn, artificial sweeteners, things with aspartame, sucralose, saccharin, processed seed oils like vegetable oil, soybeans, canola oil, alcohol. Actually, alcohol can disrupt the gut health and causes inflammation. So let's go into some food trivia. Which of these food is most likely to cause inflammation? Avocados, salmon, processed vegetable oils, of course.
Yeah.
I already told you the answer. Okay.
It's obvious.
Yeah. Well, the reason why the processed vegetable oils, they're very high in omega-6 fatty acids, right? Which can promote inflammation. Yes, you do need omega-6, but it needs to be in conjunction with omega-3. They need to be a nice balance of both of them. Which nutrients help repair gut lining and support digestion? Vitamin C, collagen, caffeine.
Collagen?
I would say collagen.
Yeah. And, you find this a lot in bone broths and certain supplements, and they do help repair the gut lining, support the repair of the gut lining. Which spice is known for its anti-inflammatory properties? Cinnamon, turmeric, or black pepper?
What was the second one?
Turmeric.
Turmeric?
Turmeric. I think turmeric.
Okay. Yes. Curcumin in turmeric is an active compound that helps reduce inflammation. So, yes, we have learned about, eliminate these foods. But a lot of people, when you tell them to eliminate dairy, and if somebody comes to you, this is what they eat, right? This is what they know. Just simply telling them to eliminate, it's probably very difficult, and probably they're not going to do that because they're like, when I go to the supermarket, their mind have trained them, okay, this is the section you go to, this is the aisle you go to, this is what fits my budget, So just telling people to eliminate is not that easy. The second thing is, a lot of people, when they eliminate, they need to be really in touch with their bodies, especially when they're eating, to know the tummy ache that I'm having, is it due to anxiety or is it due to foods? That is why I thought that the body mapping meditation is very helpful, so that people can be in touch with their bodies, especially during this process of eliminating things that might be causing inflammation in their body. And how long should these people eliminate these foods? What can they substitute? Because you don't, especially if somebody is underweight and they're having a lot of inflammation, you just don't want to tell them to cut off foods, and then there's nothing to replace with. So those are some of the things, when you're talking about elimination diet, you should think about, and it's very important for people to talk with their primary care providers or nutritionists to be able to help them with this. So what is a time frame when we say you have this inflammatory process, you have headaches, you have bloatiness, you have joint pains? I think it's related to your food. When you tell them to eliminate, especially these common inflammatory foods, how long? Have you ever thought about that? How long is too long? How short is too short?
I used to go for about a month.
Okay. What about you, Dr. Monica?
Well, of course, I'm not a medical doctor, but I think when my friend was doing it, that it was at least 10 days before he could see any results and what might be happening. Yeah. That was like a minimum, I think.
Yeah. And, there is a difference, of course, when people have like an IgE reaction to foods, whereby they have they are actually allergic to foods, I have relatives that are allergic to meat, to milk, and of course we cannot give them milk because their body goes into this reaction whereby they close up, they have hives. So for most of people, especially food sensitivities, they don't have those kind of reactions. Their reactions is delayed, right? So I might eat a bowl of pasta and I feel okay, but maybe hours later I start having a headache, fatigue, So some of these reactions are delayed and they're not very obvious to you, right? So many food sensitivities causes delayed reaction and it can take days to manifest. So when you are eliminating, you kind of like give yourself 2 to 3 weeks. So 10 days, a month is about right? So because it takes about 10 to 21 days for your immune system to actually calm down, right? So the symptoms that you people normally have are like bloating, headaches, joint pain, fatigue, skin issues. So after that elimination period, you're going to start seeing, your skin clearing. You don't have joint pain as much as you did. And then, people, you have eliminated a bunch of foods, right? You don't know which you are reactive to. So there's something called the reintroduction phase, whereby you start reintroducing foods one at a time. So like for me, I'm sensitive to eggs. Like if I eat eggs, like today I eat an egg, tomorrow I eat an egg, I do have this delayed reaction. I'll start having like joint pains, right? So what I do is I did this elimination diet. I did elimination diet to gluten and to eggs, right? For 3 weeks. And then I love eggs. Especially the organic eggs. I love eggs. I like the way it tastes. And I don't want to go without, right? If I can have an egg once in a while, I want to have an egg once in a while. So what I do after I did my 3 weeks of eliminating it, I started eating one egg at a time. And I noticed if I eat one egg, maybe one in a week, I don't have this delayed reaction. But I noticed also that if I eat an egg today and an egg tomorrow, I start having this reaction. So that is how I have worked out for myself, right? I know I can eat eggs, foods with eggs, but I cannot eat in excess, right? So the reintroduction phase is about 2 to 3 weeks also. Kind of like put it back and see how you kind of like react to it, right? So that is something that I'm learning. So it cannot be shorter than 1 to 2 weeks, as I said, because it takes around, sometimes for your body to kind of calm down. So that's the reason why it cannot be less than 10 days. And why not longer? As I said, some people are underweight, right? We don't want them to be without their nutrition for too long, right? So they can reintroduce foods and they see which foods is reacting to them, and they can make a decision for themselves. But in the meantime, you need to give them alternatives, right? If they are allergic to milk or they are sensitive to milk, what are the alternatives? So those are some of the things that, I want people to think about, not just to eliminate everything and then don't eat anything and then you start, you start losing weight. Yeah. What do you think, Dr. Fonkhem?
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. Talking about giving the patients alternative. We are so used to when we come up with a diagnosis or a plan, we say, hey, this is what you got, or this is what we think, or hey, go do this. It's a prescription, eliminate XYZ from your diet. And it's to the patient. But giving them those alternatives is very good. Encouraging them, because again, the goal is to have them become successful at this. So you only walk them through how are they going to plan for this, right? It's not just about going and buying anything you want, but actually sitting down and taking time and making a list and meal planning, because now their diet has completely changed. I mean, this is what they've been eating all their lives. And, some of those symptoms are very obscure, like fatigue, joint pains. The regular layperson on the street would not think about diet causing joint pains, right? And so now you're really changing their lives. So you have to encourage them to plan better, meal planning. Another big thing, like you already said, Dr. Njoki, is about consistency with this, right? You eliminate eggs from your diet, and one day you walk at home and your husband is boiling eggs, and you're like, man, you're still within that 2-week mark, and you just take one egg. It resets that cycle, right? It really throws things off balance a lot. And also the next thing to also highlight is about the reintroductory phase, right? Really taking the time and not rushing it, because again, these patients have missed this food that you left off the diet, and now they want to rush getting things back in order, but knowing that again, it's still time frames to all of these things, right? You still take it slowly. So I think those are the key things that the patients need to take home.
Yeah.
Lillian, I just need to go turn off my stove.
Okay.
So,
yeah. So in the meantime, so we do have this Marafiki Wellness Club. This is a space for collective wellness. I know from experience, finding a functional medicine practitioner is difficult, and sometimes it can be very pricey. I'm still thinking about, some of these things that we can help the community, especially when it comes to food sensitivities and things like that. What will be your advice on how we can do this in a community setting instead of like in the individual setting? What will be your input?
Yeah. Again, it's very funny because after I spoke to you in person, I think when I was at the hospital, I actually started to into functional medicine programs, right? It's a very good thing, which, actually piques my interest a lot. And I've pushed it off for a while, and something which I want to really get into. But in the community, people really want things to be brought down to their levels, right? Like I said, some of these symptoms, patients will hardly make that link. And I don't blame them. When my accountant talks to me, I don't really understand his language, So they don't have this language that we've gone to school for so many years to learn. But if we bring it to their level and break it down low enough, it's going to interest a lot of patients. I said, I for one, to you about it really got my interest, and I'm actually looking into that.
Oh, yay. Actually, after our talk last time, my husband fasted for 3 days. After we talked about intermittent fasting, he actually fasted for 3 days. So I think these talks are helping, they will help a lot of people. Monica, when you had left briefly, I was telling Dr. Fonkhem, elimination diet, of course, you have to find somebody that you can speak to, maybe a doctor or somebody that knows about elimination diet, for them to guide you through this. But I was trying to see what Dr. Fonkhem thought about being in a community setting, because Marafiki Wellness Club is a platform for collective wellness. I was just wondering how, if people having issues like this, how we can help them in the community setup.
Oh, yes. I think as Dr. Fonkhem was talking about the meal planning, I think having like parties where you get together and you do make a meal and you show what some substitutes can be, and maybe even just have a tasting of different types of oat milk, almond milk, the different types of substitutes that you have to make it fun.
Yeah. Okay.
Get together and say, let's try this. And even share recipes, this kind of, it's motivating.
Yeah, I think so. And especially if because I was telling, I did go to a functional medicine practitioner. It can be really expensive. It's really wonderful, but I was thinking, okay, it can be really expensive because you have to have like follow-up appointments with them. In Marafiki Wellness Club, of course, we do collective wellness, but we know that personal commitment is what is going to stick, right? Personal commitment to health. Everybody, yes, we are meeting as a group. We want wellness is a shared responsibility, but personal commitment is what is going to make lasting changes. So the people that are going to come to us probably have this kind of mindset, But as you said, like, when I was talking about, things like this, substitute to wheat, right? We do have sorghum flour, right? Where do we get sorghum flour in our community? We do have a lot of Indian stores. I don't know about the African store you told me about. Do they have sorghum flour? Dr. Fonkhem? You told me about an African store.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. I have been fortunate. There are 2 Indian stores in the Oklahoma City area that I go to get my flour. So this is sorghum flour that you can get. There's finger millet.
And I really feel horrible, but I'm not familiar with that flour.
So sorghum and millet, these are actually native to Africa. Things like maize was introduced by the colonialist. Our people used to actually use sorghum and millet as for their staple diet. That's our ancestors, and probably that's why we did not have a lot of illnesses that we're having, today.
Lillian introduced me to the sorghum millet when I was visiting last month or so, and it's delicious.
It's delicious, right? Yeah.
Oh, definitely look into that.
Yes. And this is some beans. They're called mang beans. In Swahili, we call them dengu. These are some of the things that I was raised eating. They fill up your belly. Like in the morning, we will have a cup of sorghum porridge, and that will like really fill you up, right? And here in America, we have been introduced to the culture of snacking. You're eating your 3 meals, but you're snacking a lot. That is something else, that we have been introduced to. And probably a lot of us don't need to be snacking a lot, especially if we're not using your body to do like very active things, So I feel like a lot of us do overconsume, we kind of oversaturate our systems. So that gut-brain connection is focusing more on digestion, right? And sometimes you're eating a lot of foods that are very inflammatory, right? And the gut-brain connection, you get foggy, you're not very clear-headed, and probably that is connected to your diet. And that's why we were talking about intermittent fasting last time, just giving your gut a break, But these are some of the things that we will be discussing here in Marafiki Wellness Club. And this is just the beginning, and I'm so glad that you guys, are joining me in the beginning. But the most important thing that we want to emphasize is about critical thinking. One shoe does not fit all, right? You might try finger millet, and you don't like it, Just because I said that doesn't mean that, people should just take that. And, just because I talk about elimination diet, I want you guys to actually do your own research, so that here we're not saying things that are going to pop up on Facebook or Instagram. No, this is real living, food for thought, as I say. Don't swallow in everything that I say. Chew on it. Think on it,
I have an analogous thing in a mindfulness class. It's like different meditations work for different people and help them in different ways because everybody's mind is different. Yeah. Everybody's body is different. And so we think we have our own private little laboratory. This is my laboratory here, and I do tests with it.
Exactly. So the information that you hear from us, just look at it and see if it works for you or not. So these are some of the critical thinking debunking game that I want to play with you guys. You should eat the same superfoods as everyone.
False. We just said that.
Yes, because the best diet is personalized, right? Somebody might like avocados. Somebody else is allergic to avocados, right? So, this is taking skills 101. When they say all, just know that's wrong. Right? Like this, all dairy is bad for you.
Well, for me, it is.
But there's some highly quality dairy, like fermented dairy. Fermented dairy adds to your microbiome. So, and that is beneficial to your gut health. So those are some of the statements for you. For my relative who is allergic to milk, it's a no-no. He cannot have this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if a food is labeled gluten-free, it must be healthy.
No.
No.
It could be ultra processed.
Could have a lot of sugar in it, right? Some of these things, especially these alternatives, you have to think about it. Sometimes they try to mimic the real thing, like these veggie meats. They have put in a lot of chemicals or put in a lot of ingredients to make it taste like the real thing, and like when I eat this, when I eat a piece of lamb chops, and I don't have any reaction to it, but when I eat some of these veggie meats that have been made to be meat, I have some sort of gut reaction to it, right? So my body is telling me that is not good for you. Rather eat lamb chops than that. That is for me, right? But for somebody else, it is different, right? Exercise helps improve gut health.
Yes.
Yes, because regular movement, supports digestion, reduce stress, and promotes a healthy microbiome. Even this body mapping meditation that we're doing, just meditating, right? It's good. If you're not doing it for your peace, just do it for the microbiomes in your gut. Right? Yeah, that is a benefit.
Great.
I know, right? So there's a lot of connections. There's a lot of other organisms that are living within you that make you, and it's personalized to you. Like if I took a specimen of your gut flora, it's very different from Monica's. It's very different from me, right? So everything is personalized. Okay. Now, with this, I really am thankful for both of you for joining me in this conversation, and I'm looking forward to other conversations that we are going to have in the future. Monica, any closing remarks?
I have learned so much just from coming to this seminar, and I look forward to listening to all your podcasts in the future.
Thank you. And Dr. Fonkhem?
Yeah, again, this has been the second time. It's very fulfilling. But I gotta tell you, the highlight was that 5-minute meditation session. It really,
Wonderful.
yeah, it I mean, I felt relief at the end of it. I felt at the end of it. So
It was kind of an
looking forward
abrupt ending, but
well, yes, but I mean,
that's why
yeah.
now
So
you know you should practice more often.
Practice more.
Yes.
And
At least we did a 2 minutes.
Can I tell you one 20-second mindfulness practice that you can do anytime? It improves your vision. You make cups of your hands like this, you put them over your eyes, and you slowly count 20 seconds. And you just let your eyes completely relax in their sockets. Your eyes are never that well protected. It lets you just relax. Yeah, you just sit there for 20 seconds. You can lean on them. When you just let your eyes totally relax, your vision will improve.
Yeah, I used to do.
Don't press on your eyelids. You have to make cups. You just make cups, and don't squeeze your nose. But you try that when your eyes are tired. You will love it.
I used to do that on you when I was doing a massage on you. I don't know if.
Oh, you did? That's right.
I don't know if you remember that.
It was 20 seconds.
Yes.
Yeah, you would put your hands.
Yeah, it feels so good. Yeah, so my takeaway was actually, yes, the 5 minutes meditation or 3 minutes meditation. That was really good, especially with your experience. So thank you so much for that. And also learning about the main foods that contribute to inflammation in our bodies. So that's something else. Of course, I'm learning, and I'm also learning to give this topic to other people. So thank you guys for letting me practice with you.
Nice to meet you, Dr. Fonkhem.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
That wraps up today's episode of Marafiki Wellness Club's podcast. We are exploring collective wellness is our way. We covered a lot: body mapping meditation, the functional medicine elimination diet, and how our 5 core wellness pillars help us create balance in our lives. Remember, your body is always speaking to you. The more we listen, the better we can make intentional choices that support our well-being. Before we go, here are 3 simple takeaways. Try a 5-minute body scan meditation. Tune in and notice what your body is telling you. Experiment with an elimination diet. Remove one common inflammatory food and track how you feel. Engage with our wellness community. Share your experience, ask questions, and support others on their journey. Now, we would love to hear from you. What did you learn today? Have you tried body mapping or an elimination diet before? Share your thoughts with us on our social media. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and share with someone who might benefit from this conversation. Thank you for being part of the Marafiki Wellness community, where wellness is a journey we take together. Until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and take care.